Okay, I gotta talk about this one because it's close to my heart. It is. So for those who don't know, one of my favorite games of all time is Magic the Gathering. I adore that game. I love the way that it brings people together. I love the way that its mechanics just layer into each other so you can build a billion systems off of it. It's one of the card games with the most formats that can be played with it, and formats that are built in Magic the Gathering are then replicated in other formats, or in other card games. It has been an important part of my childhood when I found out that they had books about the game that I was playing, and so I just started reading the literature, to now, where Commander took over all the competitive ways to play Magic, but this means that I can basically go anywhere in the country and immediately have a group of friends simply by sitting down with a deck of cards. Which is an insane thing to me. It is wild. Morbid Corp says, do you have any deck building tips for the newbies? Yeah, go to my Magic the Gathering channel. You'll find all kinds of shit. Anywho, unfortunately, Wizards of the Coast is also the company that was willing to work with the Pinkertons because somebody had the audacity to accidentally get mailed a product that wasn't supposed to be street legal yet. That was when a lot of people realized that the union-busting Pinkertons firm still existed and weren't just a villain from Red Dead Redemption. But let's go ahead and see what's going on here. So, the workers at Magic the Gathering have voted for the Magic the Gathering Arena team, have voted overwhelmingly to form the union, United Wizards of the Coast. We are asking Wizards and Hasbro management to voluntarily recognize our union by International Workers' Day by May 1st, 2026. Of course, it's 2 weeks after that. That's why we're talking about it. Kazumi says, still hate you for making me build a colorless deck just after I spent hundreds on expensive sack outlets for my Black Shredder deck. I didn't make you do shit. Yep, here's the link to it. Wizards of the Coast declined to recognize our union by May 1st. They can still choose to voluntarily recognize the union up until the election. Why are we organizing? We are seeking better treatment for our union members. Recent decisions by WotC and Hasbro leadership have not aligned with the values of their employees. Among the protections we will negotiate, we want layoff protections. Employees currently live in fear of suddenly losing their jobs with no warning through no fault of their own. Remote work protections. Leadership is instituting a mandatory RTO, forcing numerous remote employees to return to a physical office or forced to resign. The painful choice is splitting our employees between their homes, communities, and the jobs they love. Yeah, imagine when a company who you've worked for in the office changes your job to remote. So you start working from home. You've been remote for a couple years, and then your family moves. Like your wife gets a great job offer somewhere, and you go, well, my job's remote, so I'm good. And then WotC sends you a letter going, we need you to actually come into the office on Monday, and you're already 5 fucking states away. And they're like, you're going to lose your job if you don't come into the office on Monday, and we're not going to pay your airfare, by the way. Yeah, you're going to have to do this every Friday now. Just saying. Like, no, that's so goddamn stupid. They also want generative AI protections. Pressure has ramped from leadership to adopt large language models and generative AI tools in various aspects of our work. WotC lacks any robust AI policy, leaving opportunities for abuse and communicating a level of disrespect for artists and other creatives. So WotC is already a company that underpays artists. When you make a piece of art for WotC and it gets approved, you get about $1,600 for it, and then they send you some extra paraphernalia for you to try to make up the extra money that you would have gotten for working for somebody else up by going to conventions and selling merch. Now, this is not the worst system in the world, because there are plenty of artists who, if they can get enough Wizards of the Coast work, become prolific in the space, and they can make a pretty decent living doing this. And with Magic being the biggest game on the market, there is always the age-old argument of exposure, which they're still getting paid. So, would you rather get paid $4,000 in a singular job working for a no-name company that may or may not exist tomorrow, or less money than that, closer to $2,000, but for a company that you can get repeat work from, and you can then get a major profile set up where you can then make more and more money afterwards? The latter is generally better. It doesn't justify underpaying them completely, but I know that Wizards pays their people who do art better if they are not able to make up the difference with con stuff, because that's what happens with a lot of the Marvel and Universes Beyond properties, where even the artists who work on that stuff can't actually make money off of it the same way that they were able to with Magic properties. Different sets of agreements. Aren't they also forcing artists to create using digital tools only? For Universes Beyond stuff, I believe so, yes. So yeah, I want them to be better to artists right now, but it's kind of a lesser thing to them trying to adopt AI shit. I do not believe that any company, especially of a size like Wizards of the Coast, should be legally allowed to use generative AI for artwork. I think generative AI, or any AI, should exist as a tool or toy for people at the bottom rung, never, ever, ever as a replacement mechanism for the people who use it to cut costs. Absolutely not. You want to use AI to generate a fucking solo D&D campaign? Go for it. Whatever. You want to use it to get a worker kicked out of their job? Fuck you. I hope you step on a Lego every day of your life. Ansel says exposure doesn't pay bills. Boy, howdy, it's so cool that I also said that they pay them in money. That part's so cool. That part was really cool. I'm very glad that everybody recognized that part when I said it. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Justin says it's also going to be a shit D&D campaign. Yeah, with M dashes. With M dashes, and it's not X, it's Y's. Forever, it's not X, it's Y's. Sustainable workload. Employees' experiences with crunch, intense mandatory unpaid overtime. Unpaid overtime, my God, why? To meet deadlines vary wildly by team and project, with some teams crunching on a regular basis just to get planned work out the door. Y'all, Wizards has basically tripled the amount of product they release per year recently, and Hasbro is not making enough money in general to support that. So you just have a bunch of people who are getting overworked. Said you can support the members of WotC by demanding management take the high road and voluntarily recognize the union. If you would like to read more about our organizing campaign, look at our website, UnitedWizardsOfTheCoast.com. Since the announcement of our union, WotC has hired Fisher Phillips, a union avoidance firm, and chosen to engage in a daily union advanced campaign with emails sent to the arena team intent on spreading misinformation and sowing fear among the employees. Oh, they're doing the Walmart approach. Instead of voluntarily recognizing our union, they forced us into a redundant and drawn-out election process rather than listening to the overwhelming majority of employees who signed our initial letter to management. WotC can still voluntarily recognize the union at any point up until the election. We encourage you to sign our letter and support. So, I'm not going to do it on stream because I do not want to give you guys my information. That would definitely be a thing. Duel says union avoidance firms should be illegal. I agree. I don't think that a company should have major protections against the people that it hires unionizing. I'm sorry, I don't. I think that they already have all of the power they need because they control the paychecks. They have everything they need already there. I am a player, and I will put my shit in. Said, when is the election? I do not know. Check their website. Their website is right here. See news, remote elections. They're seeking job protections to enable workers to continue having the choice to work remotely. Hasbro leadership has been mandating all employees begin to work from office. Man, what if Chris Cox just disappeared tomorrow? Wouldn't that be neat? Wouldn't that be neat? We are the workers behind Magic the Gathering Arena, operating in partnership with the Communication Workers of America. Man, what if he just, decided that he had made enough money and he sells Wizards of the Coast to themselves and then just fucks off with the money that he makes from it? And then we no longer have to deal with his shit forever? That'd be great. So not really there's a whole board, then all of them. Every single one of them selling all their stock and handing it back to WotC. And then just accepting that they've made a shit ton of money and fucking off and just disappearing into the aether. MTG Arena is a vital part of how the world engages with WotC products. The workers who made our games can and should be treated better. Our aim is to show that the world through our union. Our aim is to show that to the world through our union's efforts. We are building the game industry we want to see in the world. So whether you're a worker, a player, or someone who wants to see better conditions for all, welcome. We're here to make things better. You know what's wild to me? I've seen people on Twitter try to argue that, yeah, good, fuck unions. Fuck the union. Why? Why do you want... I'm just curious. How many people do you think played Final Fantasy VII, cheered on everything Avalanche did, watched Star Wars, cheered on everything the Rebels did, but then, like, in real life, every single action they take and every single word they say is an endorsement of our version of the villains in those properties? Every single time? It's insane to me that none of these people lack the media literacy to realize, oh shit, right, I'm cheering on for the wrong people here because of my personal values. Every single one of these people. Jokes. Katrain says, because the vast majority of the average population has been taught unions are nothing but crime fronts. Well, you know what's funny? When a union doesn't get recognized, it can operate as a crime front. It's really weird to see a factory burn, but history shows that is a thing that has happened in the past. But again, when you have people who have inoperable conditions and you leave them with no option at all, then that's what you get. That is the situation that you leave people with. It's the fucking Walmart thing. Why would I want to start a union? Walmart is already my family. Give me a squiggly. I just made everybody outside of Department 82 in Walmart freak the fuck out. I just gave all of you PTSD. If you've worked for Walmart, you know exactly what those words mean. Naki Bree says squiggly. So, for those who don't know, one of the ways that Walmart tries to keep morale is the morning meetings. Now, in the morning meetings, they will grab fruit from the fruit department, and they will take it out to where the employees are, and they will have a meeting where all the employees come for about 10 minutes, and they raise morale. And at the end of the meeting, they will usually do the Walmart chant, where in YMCA fashion, you have to say, give me a W, give me an A, give me an L. And then for the dash between Wall and Mart, you have to say, give me a squiggly. And it's cult shit. It's just cult shit. It's just cult shit. And, like, don't get me wrong, plenty of corporations use those tactics to get people to invest more emotionally in the job than they actually otherwise would. The idea of company culture almost always boils down to some type of weird cult behavior. You know what? Hold on. I gotta find out. YouTube? Is it here? Can I find it? Yep, here it is. Give me the squiggly! Squiggly! Fucking... God, I don't miss Department 82. I don't miss Department 82. At all. But it's everywhere. Man, look at how checked out she is. Holy shit. Remember that Target also does this. Company culture. They all do it. Somewhere. You know what? I think it's a good time to remind you guys of the Walmart anti-union SQL. SDL? CBL. Was it? Yeah, CBL. Computer-based learning. I think it's important to remind you guys that this exists.
Russell, I was just telling Julie and Dane here, the Walmart listens to our associates.
Sure does. Mr. Walden said over and over again, listen to our associates. They are our best idea generators.
Huh. Hey, Russell, you ever had an idea they went for?
Well, not yet. But Donna has.
Yeah, but she's management.
Well, she wasn't management when she hit on a way to reorganize our receiving paperwork. She was a stalker then.
Not too long ago either.
Now we're using her way in every Walmart. Right, Don?
Flight of Crow says, no, I don't want to do my CBL. Man, I am traumatizing all the old Walmart employees. I am traumatizing all of you. Every single one. Flight of Crow says, I'm a current one. Ooh. Damn. Damn. I'm so sorry. You know what's so wild? At mine, Department 82 didn't have employees. It just had the manager. So you only had one person managing nobody who had to take over every holiday, every holiday thing that came in, every candy aisle thing that came in, every clip strip that came in, and they had to handle everything on the front end. I promise you, those clip strips never got done. She used to be a stalker, a Walmart stalker, like stocking shelves. Stocking shelves.
Right. You see, the company wants to hear new ideas. For instance, the people...
They want to hear new ideas from the employees. They don't want to pay them for their ideas. They, in fact, actually will expressly do everything they can do not to do that.
Greeters in our stores who make customers feel welcome, that was an associate's idea.
It sounds like employees, associates, they're listened to.
And without going through union politicians.
Of course not. But you see, management recognizes our...
And without going through unions. And without going through unions. And without going through unions. And girl just sitting there. Of course not. No. No, the word union, it makes me feel icky. It drives me up inside.
Associates. We know that our associates' ideas are good. Associates even came up with suggestions about our work schedules.
And they use some of them right away.
Russell, you know of any union...
Said the anti-union actors are actors, aka from the Actors Union? Ah, man. That's ironic.
Russell, you know of any union that works like that?
Of course not. All unions work at is taking a cut out of my pay.
Yeah, take your money and spend it to help in political campaigns. You help people I don't even vote for.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we get it. You voted for Trump. Anyway, yes, union money often goes to that, but it also goes to a handful of other things that you should actually be okay with. Like when a union goes on strike, oftentimes the pool of union money is used to pay the workers while they are on strike so that they can still feed their families and have power over the company. That's such a cool thing, is it not? And you also know that when they're spending money on political campaigns, usually they are doing so that some corporate lobbyist cannot help, I don't know, disassemble the union. It's kind of like being upset that you needed a gun while you're in the military. Like, yeah, I understand that you don't really like the weapon, but you're in a job where the tools of your trade need to be utilized or you do not get to exist anymore. Same thing here. There are going to be people using political campaigns to organize against you, so you need to have that same weapon in your tool belt. I'm sorry that that's how it works. Maybe you should say something to the people in the Pinkertons about it.
Yeah, me too. But they're never gonna do that to me again.
You were in a union?
Yep, but no more. You see, I'm one of the hundreds of thousands of former union workers, or members. I'm one of the thousands of reasons unions are getting so much smaller.
Well, Dane was in a union too.
Yeah, because you're actively helping in a campaign against them by Walmart. You know, unions are the reason that we have a 40-hour work week with overtime. Just letting you know that. Union pressure is how that happened. Let's not even get into the political affiliations of the particular unions that fought for that. But those of you who want to Google, go right ahead.
Yeah, I was in a union. You know, where I worked, union rules made it so we couldn't even rush a shipment. And we kept on losing customers and money till the truck line shut down.
We couldn't even rush a shipment. You mean you didn't have crunch? You mean you weren't forced to do things way faster than were safe? Man, that sounds like a good thing, actually. Weird.
You know, a lot of jobs, more union jobs, they're all gone.
You people at the truck line, you voted for a union.
Voted for a union? Nah, there never was a vote. The union got enough cards signed and demanded the company recognize the union without an election.
Without an election? I mean, didn't you have cards to sign saying that you wanted a union?
So, the election happens when they are not recognized by the company. You don't want that to have to happen. You want the company to recognize the union before that point. You idiots!
Election?
Yeah, and I signed a card just to get him off my back. Yeah, I thought there had to be a vote, and I'd vote no, but I sure got fooled.
Walmart, everybody. Walmart. Everybody's favorite. Anywho, anti-union propaganda is bullshit. And I do not like the fact that Wizards of the Coast, and likely because of pressure from Hasbro, because of course, constantly gets into these scenarios. I want to support the company. I want to have a working relationship with the company. In fact, I'm planning on trying to do that as things go on. But anti-union shit agitates the fuck out of me. I love operating my secondary channel, where I get to talk about Magic the Gathering, also known as Suris MTG. You can follow with the link below. K-Fox might put something up here too, because, you know, she's a cool editor. Or she isn't listening to this part, and I don't know. I just suggested that a ghost do something. Who knows? But, I love having that secondary channel. I love being able to talk about a card game that brings me a ton of joy. I want to continue doing that. So, WotC, do the right thing. Please. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.